When Nightly News visited the scene on Thursday morning, healthcare workers could be seen holding placards with varying inscriptions, including "Do not discriminate against the unvaccinated," "No to mandatory vaccination," and "It is illegal to lock out workers," as they stood protesting outside the corporation against what they deem to be a slap in the face by government. According to Gerald Ford, a government medical officer, the government's policy is unlawful since it violates human rights.
We are not going to accept this coercion and total breaking of the law. We're not going to accept it. It's a personal right. We got a right, legal right to choose whether we want to take it or not. And if we don't want to take it, it's under the law. It says that they have to pay for the test and not us. The law is saying that you cannot lock out healthcare workers. The same law that they run to say we cannot strike when we have grievances is the same exact Article 12 of the Essential Service Act that said that they cannot lock out healthcare workers or any other essential worker, for matter of fact.
Dubbing the government's action hypocritical, Ford reminded that healthcare workers who are now being locked out from the hospital were working diligently since the beginning of the pandemic, even when the government could not adequately provide protective gear.
All the time they were telling us to come to work. We weren't a danger to our family all those times. You couldn't stay home. Some people trying to get leave, they couldn't get a leave. Now you're locking out the same healthcare workers that you deem as heroes.
The people of Guyana should not and will not accept any form of discrimination, Ford said.
Turn up for work diligently this morning just like everybody else. Why are you locking us out? If the science is saying that the vaccinated and the unvaccinated carrying this thing just as even and straight, why are you discriminating against why are you discriminating against the unvaccinated?
Meanwhile, also standing in solidarity with the healthcare workers and staff was the first Vice President of the Guyana Public Service Union, Don Gardner, who expressed disappointment at the measures instituted.
This thing is not about you just using bullyism tactics. No, it's about talking. Let us talk. Talk with the people. Hear the person's view.
Gardner called on President Irfan Ali to intervene as the workers will not move from their position until the measures are reversed. Chalana Providence, head of communications at Gphc, told 90 News that the corporation did not lock out its staff since the gates were open. She noted, however, that staff were given adequate time to comply with the measures and that over the past 2 weeks, numerous educational sessions about the vaccines were held. While it is unfortunate that such a large quantity of the staff were off the job, the hospital was not negatively impacted, Providence said. On August 11, the minister on his Facebook page announced that healthcare workers and public transport operators would have until August 25 to comply with the newly instituted COVID-19 vaccination protocols. Under the updated gazetted order, public transport operators, health workers, and other citizens must provide a COVID-19 vaccination card or a negative PCR test before they are allowed to operate a public transport, enter a government office, or dine at a restaurant, with the exception of pregnant and breastfeeding women and persons who tested positive for COVID-19. These new policies, while welcomed by a significant percentage of the population, continues to be heavily criticized by some who have responded through a series of protest actions. For the HDP Nightly News, Kendell Richmond.